hello, my babies, and welcome to another wonderful episode of Spiritual Tea Time with Reverend Patience, which is here on Indigo Psychics TV and sponsored by Indigo Psychics Coffee and Clarity. And tonight we are going to be talking about Victorian seances, and which coincides with our lovely loose leaf English breakfast tea, which happens to be named Victorian Seance, because when one thing you'll learn about our company here at Indigo Psychics Coffee and Clarity, all our teas and all our coffees are have some kind of esoteric occult or god or goddess that it's associated with. And when I heard about the English breakfast tea, it's like, oh, I thought of my dear English gypsy friends, the Rum Shells, and how they love to do their tea readings with English breakfast tea. And it also has to be King Charles's favorite tea in the morning. Anyways, my silly behind. But I'm very proud also too. I got to shoot, okay. One of the co-authors here of a fabulous book. Let me get this right on the camera. It says Appalachian Conjuring. Child, please. Ooh, we the ladies of the Sisterhood, Miss Ashley, Misty, and my lovely guest here, Dr. Rhonda. I have written the most excellent book. I don't care if you're a beginner, advanced, whatever, you will learn something new because trust and believe me, just like, I always say and everything, these people are the real deal. And also another thing, shout out about Witch Vegas, y'all. Come party with me and everybody in Vegas, January 20th and 21st. We're going to be at the Orleans, honey. We're going to be right in the middle of Mardi Gras season, celebrating everything and anything of the dark feminine, celebrating every goddess of every way, shape, or form. For the VIPs, we got a lovely witches rave, which is going to be dedicated to all things that are dark and feminine. It's going to be called Lilith's Masquerade. And then in the morning, because we're going to be featuring different various speakers, both on Saturday and Sunday during the event, a meet and greet with a continental breakfast where you can meet all the speakers and everything. And the service of coffee and tea will be offered and featured from Indigo Psychics Coffee and Clarity. And also tonight, along with her fellow sisters of the Sisterhood, I am very proud to say that Dr. Rhonda will be coming to the lovely event. And on Sunday with her sisters, speaking on personally herself, if I stand to be corrected, talking about different ways of doing seances. Correct? Yes. And just like tonight, we're talking about the Victorian, when back in the day when spiritualism really blasted off and everything. I'm from Florida myself, and I've always been one of my dreams since I was a little girl to live in Casadega. So when, getting a chance to even talk about the subject makes me giddy like a schoolgirl. It's one of my favorite topics. But real quick, before we bring Miss Rhonda in, we say a quick hello to Brother Danny Chen. He says, blessings, everyone. Namaste, brother. Thank you for joining us. Mama June, greetings, beautiful queen, she says. She's all the way in tune from Bermuda. Mama, I saw what Philip is doing, baby. Make sure you get them offerings out to Yamaya and Oya ASAP, please, okay? Please. All right. Love you, honey. I'm keeping you in my prayers and the family. Be safe down there in the islands. But without further ado, let me bring aboard Dr. Rhonda. Hello, beautiful. It is so fabulous that we finally got you on the show. Yeah.
I know. I can't believe I'm finally here. The stars finally aligned. So I'm so thrilled.
Amen. Amen. I love what y'all been doing and everything. And like I told Mama Pat last time when she was on last week, that hubby and I now have an RV, and I plan next year we're going to be traveling a lot. And I want to come down and visit y'all and hang out with y'all and everything. And just I miss being in the mountains, because my grandmama my grandma Mary, she was full-blooded Cherokee from Cherokee, North Carolina. And so I miss being up in the Appalachian area and everything. Even though my swamp water runs through my veins, I guess it's the Capricorn in me. It's the mountain goat, I miss the call of the hills big time. And it would be lovely to come and have some tea and hang out and cackle a few, if you know what I'm saying.
Oh my God, that would be fabulous. I can't wait.
Oh, we're going to be having some fun in Vegas, baby.
Oh,
we're going to be having some fun. I mean, it was serendipitous how we even got the place. Okay. Our lovely event. It's going to be hosted by the Weird Sisters of Las Vegas, which is Lady TA, Mama Voodoo. And so they are gracious enough, since they're in Vegas, was doing the footwork for us to find the venue and everything. And either they were shutting us down because we're, it's for witches, or they were tripling and quadrupling at some places the prices for the venues because we're witches, trying to deter us from being there. And see, I have the ashes on my ancestor altar of one of my spiritual teachers. His name was Papa Joe Zaba. He was known as Frog Prince there in Jackson Square in New Orleans back in the day. And I clearly kept on hearing him say Orleans. And I'm thinking, of course, New Orleans, because I heard, because sometimes, words can be, muddled or faded when you're talking with spirit. So I thought he meant New Orleans, Nolans. And he's like, no, Cher, Casino, Orleans. And I mentioned, and I'm like, ding, 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 ding. I'm like, oh my gosh, yes, the Orleans. It's right over by my favorite Irish pub in Vegas. It's like, holy shit, yeah. So I had Mama Voodoo go in there and everything. She went in there full makeup. Mind you now, she is bright red hair, skull face paint, got the staff, top hat, long leather trench coat. I mean, during Halloween, especially this time of year, everybody know who Mama Voodoo is in Vegas. As soon as she walked in, the event manager looked at her. She didn't even get a chance to even mention about the event yet. And he's going, yes, yes, yes. So as soon as she told him about it, he's like, yep, sure, no problem. They literally were a third of what everyone else was quoting us for prices. We're actually in the Mardi Gras room. 20th and 21st is during the middle of Mardi Gras season. So, and what's lovely is that the whole place is done up like the French Quarter from back in the 1800s to about the 1920s, depending on what area of the hotel and everything that you're in. And then if you ever seen Disney's Frog Prince and everything, Princess and the Frog, the little alligator dude, imagine him wearing the 1930s barbershop type outfit with a trombone. That's their big mascot in the front. I'm like, holy shit. And that's my favorite Disney movie. I'm channeling my Dr. Facilier today. Miss Levidius says good evening, and she says hello. Thank you for joining us tonight. So, on the subject of Victorian seances, when did that actually start? Because when you read about the Victorian era and everything, they're supposed to be like, very prudish, very religious and everything. So how did that trend even start?
It was back in the mid-ish 1800s, actually, when it started. And you had so much death. Mortality rate was terrible. And you would have, 10 or 15 kids. You were lucky if you had 5 live to adulthood. It was, right. And then you have the Civil War, and you send these young kids, these young men off to war, and they may never come home. And then you have people moving westward and dying on the trail trying to get, west. And so these religious people, and everyone else, they needed a way. They didn't get to say goodbye to their loved ones when they passed on. So they began seeking out psychics and mediums, trying to find a way to get into touch with loved ones who have passed on. Even Mary Todd Lincoln had seances in the White House because she lost children, so that she was trying to contact her son. So it was just a way to try to get closure from all of these losses that if these people died, they lay where they were. Sometimes you never got to see the body, and sometimes you didn't even know what had happened to them. So that's where the seance is all. That's where the trend came from during the Victorian and Edwardian era.
Which I don't blame them, but during those eras too, there was a lot of charlatans out there taking advantage of people and everything. And so, how could someone, especially back then, could tell if someone was true, and and not snow in their eyes.
Unfortunately, I don't know how they could tell the difference, honestly. Just like today, you really don't know. I guess it was just a word of mouth. Someone would find someone they could trust, and then they would pass the name on to someone else.
Right. How much different is the Victorian way of doing things compared to way we do things in the 21st century in modern times?
Oh my God, it was so planned out and so formal. People would dress. Um, they would come prepared to, spend an evening with the psychic. The psychic was the one who gave all the information. And I do have seances that, guests are allowed to speak in. And that's how I think most of them are today. The psychic will lead, but, if someone has a message or feels something, they'll blurt it out because it may be relevant to somebody. But if it's a Victorian seance, which I do a lot of those as well, which we have one on Friday the 13th this year.
I wish I could be there. I'll definitely be there in spirit, no pun intended.
So we've got one, and it is a Victorian seance. I'm encouraging people to dress the part. So what the Victorian seance, you were formally dressed. Everything was formal. The medium would be the one to lead the seance, the one to channel, and the only one to speak. Everyone else would sit there and just be part of the circle, bringing the extra energy in to help connect.
And see what people don't realize when they're doing that and everything, because it is still just baffles me how people, well, supposed to be well seasoned practitioners, terrified of an Ouija board. And it's like, child, the board itself is not something, it's just a focusing tool. What you're scared of is that, you've been said that lie and everything. The board itself is nothing to be scared of. It's a focusing tool. So you're opening up that pineal gland, which is the key to opening up the spirit world.
Exactly. And when I joined a paranormal team, SRS Paranormal, years ago, and I'm still with them. We do stuff together, but they finally opened up. But when I first joined them, they were terrified of that board. I said, "You are using this spirit box. What's the difference?"
Exactly.
You're
Exactly.
still asking something questions. You're still inviting something in. The only difference is you are putting your energy and you are connecting with that board, but you're still asking something to come through.
Exactly. And actually with them spirit boxes and everything now these days, whether you got the whole box or you use the app converters on your phone and everything, because of the crystal quartz and the copper and the silver and all that in the gold that are in the microchips that help run those things, you're getting boom, you're getting more in tune with the spirit world than doing the board.
Yeah, you are.
And the thing is, a lot of people used to call me crazy for talking that until I started getting facts from folks who are spiritual like us who also work in IT. Works in the computers, make the chips and everything, and they can verify. Yeah, every time you pop into the internet, guess what you're doing, honey? You're tapping into the spirit world, whether you tap it into the ether. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, literally. And that's what the guys, they were really scared. One had, and they come from that religious background,
Mm-hmm.
but but they were curious, and they were non-believers. They didn't believe in the spirit. They believed in ghosts, but they didn't believe in being able to contact them. And I said, "What's the difference?" I said, "I'm able to contact them, just like this, just concentrating and opening myself up. You're talking to them with this little box or whatever." And I had them sit in on a few seances, and I still hate the ITC part. I hate the tech part, but they have found ways to incorporate the ITC with the medium side. So there's experimental equipment that they've developed that lets me and them both use the equipment, the modern day equipment, with what I do. But they didn't understand dowsing rods. They didn't understand pendulums. They didn't understand seance at all. They were terrified of seance and the board. Automatic writing, all of the tools tipping tables. They were fascinated with tipping table. My grandmother was a table tipper, and that's where I learned. And they were terrified of the table. So they're good with it all now. They've come to appreciate, and they've learned, and they understand it better. But at the beginning, it was like you know.
Oh, of course, and that's what it takes and everything. It's to show, being having that, willing to have that open mind and everything. And like I tell people, just because you don't believe in spirits, don't mean they don't believe in you, baby. Okay, whether you like it or not, yes, everything is energy. We can prove that now with physics and all that kind of good stuff. What spirit is, conscious energy, more or less energy with an attitude. Okay, we live in a symbiont, situation here. Okay. You know what I'm saying?
Like,
Real quick, shout out to my girl, the Costa Rican vegan. She says, meow. I just wanted to say hello, a quick hello. Puerto Rican love, baby. Boricua in the house, New York. She got a lovely dark roast coffee called our Gothic Girl blend. And she was so sweet. When she did her little video, she had to sniff it twice. She's like, oh my gosh, mommy. I can't believe how fresh it is. Oh, I love her. I love her. I'm very blessed. Um, with the everything, because more and more, young people are getting into this type of stuff and everything. Um, Someone who's first learning about seance, what are some of the basics you would teach them to prepare them for, especially like protection, before they even start playing with boards or pendulums or dowsing rods or whatever?
first, I would have them meditate and learn how to ground themselves and shield themselves spiritually.
Mm-hmm.
I would also encourage them to connect with their spirit guides and their ancestor guides so that they can have them ask them to come in and protect and help them connect with
Amen.
particular spirits they want to connect with. And the biggest thing I would say is if it doesn't feel right, it's not right. Let it go. And never try to communicate if you're in a bad place. If you're in a bad state of mind, if
Mm-hmm.
you're
Yes,
drinking,
girl.
or if you have an addiction of some sort, you got to be clean and clear, and you got to be positive, because whatever you go in, your state of mind being, that's what you're going to attract. If you're going positive, you're going to attract positive stuff. If you go in with a negative head, you're going to attract negativity, and that you don't want.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's what also too, like I always tell people, because the problem is so many people, like when my baby girl, my youngest, you know, her daddy and I had a talk, and at 13 I was started allowed to train her up and everything. And I told him, I said, I need to, because whether you like it or not, the child's been showing interest since 8 years old. I got the child on freaking the computer looking up how to become a vampire through a spell, and come on, you know. So what I could, in a nonchalant way, was teach her the basics without being obvious and everything. But when she turned 13, taught her about, making sure we properly, because I make a mixture. I learned from this lovely, she was from Gullah Geechee lady from South Carolina, taught me a recipe. You put it in a spray bottle, you put vinegar, your full moon water, and squeeze juice of 3 lemons, and put 3 tablespoons of salt. Pray Psalms 23 over it, then shake it up real good, and then use it as a spray on your mirrors, and you know go counterclockwise to help seal them up and everything before you even start anything, or cover them. Like when someone dies in the house and everything, so they don't get confused, do the same thing and everything, cover it up so you don't have something thinking it's going to be sneaky and trying to be sneak in. And then I would make her make a little salt ring and everything, or I would even use lavender baking soda that I have and stuff. Make it that. too. If we didn't have enough salt in the house, we've done that before, and that works fabulous, keeping out the nasties and letting anything with love come through. And because you can always go through and re-vacuum it up when you're done, and then teaching her about making sure you say goodbye and close the door. Always close the door. I know I have, but do you have any lovely stories to tell us about dealing with folks that opened up the door and you had to clean it up?
I do actually. It actually involved the paranormal team I'm with. We get called in a lot to go in and clean up messes.
I bet.
When one lady we went in and she swears that she wasn't doing anything, and when we
They
went
always
in,
do, girl. Mm.
and then after we talked with her for quite a while and explained to her what was going on, well, I did use the Ouija board one time. I'm like, you used the spirit board and you didn't tell us this. Yeah, that she
Mm.
did. She had no idea. She was just playing with it. Had no idea, and it was really messing with her kids.
I
Um,
bet.
yeah,
I bet. I'm not surprised. Because what I hate is that, Warner Bros. Or Hasbro or whatever company it was, you have to be 21 to drink alcohol, but you can be 8 years old to use a Ouija board without training and set up a demon in the parents' house.
I
Huh?
know that's crazy.
That ain't a game. That's one thing I do have a pet peeve when it comes to the board and everything. Something like that should not ever been allowed to be sold as a toy.
No, never. And I always preached on that. Why, in God's name, would they take the? Obviously, they didn't believe in what their product they were putting out. I guess they thought it was a toy, but they didn't care. They just wanted the money. But yeah, it's crazy that a child can have it and play with it, and it's okay until it's
Exactly.
not okay. Until it's not okay.
Then you're calling people like us and everything to clean up somebody's mess. I had a situation happen in the little town I live outside of, and lo and behold, the main source was coming out of this room in the basement. And before I even opened the closet, I said, "Which one of you fools was in here?" Because I could see it plainly day. These two little boys being naughty, playing with the Ouija board, and I said, "It was you and your brother, wasn't it?" And I slide it open, and lo and behold, the main water pipes, copper water
Oh
pipes.
my God.
Yes, girl. You want to talk about a portal and a half? Oh my God, girl. So I talked to mama and everything. I said, "There's lavender and cedar wood and everything. Make sure you mark it and bless it. You say your prayers to Saint Michael. Make sure you say your prayers in 91 and 23 over it at least once a month." 1 month she did not do it. "Did you do such and such?" "No." "Did you do such and such?" "No." I said, "Honey, this is not a one-time fix because the whole little town that I live outside of, it itself, the whole area used to be Ojibwe, aka Choctaw burial ground. So between them people being there, fools playing around with the occult because they do have a little Masonic lodge. So you got fools running around and everything, and they got these little kids doing foolishness. And then you have, with other, also too, with their culture, they used a lot of the old fashioned elementals to protect their burial areas.
Mhm.
So it's like, honey, when someone like Miss Rhonda or myself, people, if we tell you you have to do something every month, do not take it lightly, please. Okay? Because certain areas and everything, because of, like I said, their closet with the copper pipes and everything being on burial ground, yeah, that's you're gonna have to, reinforce it at least once a month.
Oh yeah.
Otherwise, you're gonna have foolishness.
Well,
Miss.
I've had people call me in, and
Mm-hmm.
I will tell them what they have to do because I can't do it. Sometimes they have to reclaim their house, and I'm
Exactly.
telling them you have to do this. I can't
Mm-hmm.
do this for you, and they don't want
That's
to.
what.
They want someone else to clean up their mess and fix it.
Oh,
And
oh, I know, because people are lazy, darling. Which is one of my biggest pet peeves, is spiritually lazy folk and stuff. And that's why, when I teach anybody anything, like Misty and them say, we never teach anybody our prayers. so they can steal our power from it.
Right.
I always give people, as I say, words of inspiration. Like if I post one of my recipes, I don't expect you to follow it to the T. Just like in cooking, you can modify it,
Right.
and I say, in general, say something similar to this. I never say exactly say this. I never tell anybody exactly, because you need that intent coming from your heart, and like you said, especially when it comes to paranormal stuff of your home, that needs to be your sanctuary, people. You know what I'm saying? You need to claim it. You need to show love to it. Yet all homes, no matter where you are, has an energy to it and everything. And you have to treat it as one of the family, and show that love. And it will show you love, you know. Miss Lavidia says preparation for seance may include channeling the god Anubis, of funerary rites, protector of graves, and guide to the underworld in ancient Egyptian religion. Yes, in some traditions, they used to do that because that was really big, especially back in the 1920s. Oh my God, when it had that resurgence again and everything, every after they found King Tut and all that stuff. So everything, I why am I seeing you and the girls and everything dressed up as flappers? I literally just had a flash of you all in a parlor. It was, I would say, about 1927.
We believe
Mm.
that our paths have crossed over and over, and the last time was the 1920s. We actually did a 1920s photo shoot, and it looks like it should
No,
have been.
I have the picture for when I made the one flyer.
It looks authentic. It
Yes,
doesn't
it
pretend
does.
to be free.
Yes, it
And,
does. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. And you all look so fabulous, girl. You can just feel the power in that room. It's like, oh, that's why I'm so honored and so blessed to have you ladies come on doing the Witch Vegas event. Y'all gonna have wintertime blues and you want to have a good time, as we say, bon ton roulette, baby. Let the good times roll. Come party with us in Vegas. Meet Dr. Rhonda and her fellow sisters of the Sisterhood of Magic and Wonders and learn about that Appalachian mountain folk, the traditions of granny magic and the conjure that come from that region. Oh my goodness, people. You want to talk about powerful, powerful. Oh my goodness gracious. I remember many a times, going up and there's reasons why you got to follow certain traditions, even if you're not a supposed believer, because it believes in you because of what wanders in the woods up there in them mountains. Why they tell you don't whistle at night. If you see yourself,
don't go into the woods at night.
girl, if you thought you heard your name, no, you didn't. No, you didn't. You didn't hear nothing. Keep walking, baby. Run
Yep.
if you got to. You know.
Ignore it and run.
Mm, and in your experience, what has been some of the of recalling of your different seances? Have you ever had one that ever scared you of the spirit that you met because of them being so icky?
Well, the only one that really scared me was the first time I had experienced shadow death.
Ooh,
I was channeling, and the person had had a heart attack.
oh my gosh.
And it was one of my first seances, and I was ill prepared for that. I,
Mm,
I jumped up and I ran out. And I said, "I'm sorry, I'll be back. I have to go outside." So went outside and grounded, and then I just called in the ancestor guides and the spirit guides, and I just asked this person to please vacate. And so that's the only thing that's really scared me. Um, with the seance, but I thought I was having a heart attack. It's like, oh my gosh.
oh yeah.
Have
I
you had experienced shadow death? It is really frightening the first time.
hmm I bet it is. See, when I was a child growing up where I was in Florida, our home was built on Seminole burial ground. And then the area was back in the late 70s split like diagonally. and everything, with the C-18 canal, but it used to be all one area because not only was it Seminole Burial Ground, it also was a Civil War battle that if you grew up in Florida that you knew about. They don't really, because it wasn't one of the more popular ones. And the whole it's now made into a state park, and they have all these trails made out of limestone, and you can see where the old cracker houses, that's what they used to call the little shacks and stuff that
Mhm.
folks used to live in, used to be. And right at the crossroads in the middle of that battlefield is what the whole house is gone but the chimney. And so when I moved back home, because I had been dealing with them spirits and everything since I was a child, and I had noticed that they were starting, because the only reason why they were able to come to my parents' property and everything from the battlefield is because they had a bridge built over, and a brand new extra wide one. They used to have an old itty bitty little cattle bridge and everything because our area used to be farmland for a while. And they built this big, huge modern one for the bicycle riders. And so they were coming and messing with my child. And someone was trying to tell me I was crazy for doing, leaving stuff and leaving offerings and saying prayers at that crossroads. I said, no, I wasn't. I was telling them straight up, I have love and respect for you all, but if you do not leave my child alone, you will fight me and my ancestors. And trust and believe me, it is not something coming from ego. Because when you're a parent and everything, it is, because I feel sorry for the parents who do not have gifts like us, because they don't know how to fight the unseen and
Right.
everything. And so once I experienced that really for myself, especially with my youngest, I've, I do my best in duty to help teach parents and everything, even though they're, don't have all the gifts like we do and everything, but show them how to start listening to like the different frequencies to really start opening up gently, their third eye and stuff, and start learning how to sense what is good and what is bad, especially my parents with children on the spectrum and
Oh
everything.
my God, yes. The one that we went to, the lady that had been messing us, yeah, the child was autistic, and he was
Oh, they're
limping
literally
up.
human keys, baby. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Up here, I worked part time as a DSP, which is direct support personnel working with vulnerable adults on the spectrum. And with the first company, it was at the thrift store, and the thrift store was right on the crossroads.
Oh my God.
Okay. Right across from it in the West, which rules the underworld, is the hospital that originally started back in the 1920s that has the modern facade, but the original heart of it is still from the 1920s. And you want to talk about haunted is all get back. Then, like I said, the little town itself. And as a psychic medium, that would be my luck to conjure up a part-time job and everything, working at a haunted thrift store.
Yeah.
Well, lo and behold, because of the certain elements and everything, because you saw what happened during the riots in Minneapolis. Well, now a lot of the cockroaches from the cities are moving up this way, and the drugs are getting terrible, and the trash is just the ickies are coming up. And so I didn't want to deal with the customers, but I miss, my participants that I worked with and everything. So now I work in adult foster care, and that would be my luck as a psychic medium to go from a haunted thrift store now to a haunted home that I work in for adult foster care. Child, it was hilarious. When I before I became overnight shift, I used to work in the afternoon evenings, and some many times I would be the first one to get there. I felt a presence in the home, but she didn't quite reveal herself yet to me. And they keep a little lockbox for the house key and everything. And my routine was I would take it out of the box, put it in, open the door, put it back, and then finish walking in. Well, I turn around, close the door, and I look down. Mind you, now I never touched the deadbolt. Deadbolt sticking straight out. I'm like, what the fuck? And then I look over to my right, and then there's Miss Margaret going, a lady that used to have Down syndrome that used to live there and everything. She died in the room that was in the basement, which
Oh,
my one client, lives in now. And because I had noticed her mood swings. And then when I really started paying attention, I could see with Miss Margaret, because the client doesn't that's alive only has Asperger's. She doesn't have Downs, but Miss Margaret did. And when Miss Margaret takes over, I notice her facial features start looking more like Downs and everything. Fighting for that attention and everything and all that kind of good stuff. And then one of my spiritual advisors, fellow advisors here on Indigo Psychics, Sister Yeye could see that there was a medicine woman, and her from the Ojibwe, it's translated to Mama Bear. And the girls started calling me Mama Bear because of how protective I am of them and everything. And because was told that I was going to be getting a new spirit guide, but they will not be a relative. And I'm like, what? Okay. But whatever, I'm open, I'm all down. And lo and behold, it was her and everything. And she had told me because of the love and protection I was giving these ladies and everything, that whatever I needed, she will make sure the warriors will always keep me protected from my enemies. And girl, you want to talk about just open up and just crying. And I was like, to me, that was the most beautiful, sweetest thing ever, to have that honor and everything. Because when I started doing research about this woman and everything, she was the higher up when it comes to the medicine people of the tribe in the local area here in Minnesota where I'm at. And it's like, I will do. So now we have the whole area where overnight stay. We have things done up to her and everything with bears and stuff from the her clan and everything, and dealing with that type of stuff. That's why I want people to learn from you and from the other ladies of the sisterhood. To This is real, people. This is not a game. And you want a very good teacher. Oh my gosh, these guys are fabulous. What are some of the events you guys got coming up? Because I know this month is like crazy busy for you guys.
It's crazy busy for the others. This is my anniversary month. We were married on
Oh, yeah. Oh, I don't blame you, honey. Yes, celebrate.
We were married on Halloween. So the only thing we're really doing this month is that I'm doing myself is Friday the 13th seance. The rest of the month I'm kind of taking off. We've been renovating a home that I own, the Nickerson Sneed House, into a haunted B&B, and we were hoping to get it open this month. I'm still hoping. So I've been working on that and just kind of letting the events fall, back a little bit. Need to prioritize a little bit. But we do magic classes there and seances, and we do a thing called Psychic Days where we have people come in. We're there reading, and it's just the doors open. You come in, you choose your reader, and
Awesome.
but we do a lot of stuff there. But right now, this month, the rest of the year is pretty calm for me. I think the girls after this month, I think the rest of their year is kind of slowing down too.
Awesome. So how did you guys get into doing this? Say it again, because I always say it wrong. Your haunted Airbnb.
Nickerson Sneed.
Nickerson. Okay, Nickerson Sneed. For some reason, I always say Snickerson.
Everybody does that. He was a doctor. He was a doctor. He bought the property. It was found. It was settled before the Revolutionary War. It was settled in the mid 1700s, and there was a fort there. And when the man died that had the fort during the Revolutionary War, Dr. Sneed purchased part of the fort, and he built the house around a 2-room log cabin. And so it was a field hospital during the Civil War. So we thought it was only fitting to name the house after him.
Amen. Amen. What, like I said, next year we gonna be traveling a lot. So, like I said, I'm determined, to get my behind out there and come visit y'all, because I look forward to definitely, because I see the pictures and everything. Because I love, when my dad was a big history buff, so he used to take us to the old homes and the plantations and everything, and me with my little behind with the, I'm seeing everybody, and I'm thinking it's like period dress people, and it's like, no, baby, there ain't nobody over there. Oh, okay, never mind, but it was like our anniversary. We always travel and everything, and this past year, hubby took me to the axe burner house there in Iowa,
I've
and
been
it
wanting
was,
to go there.
and one of the little girls, the 8-year-old, thought at first my husband was her dad.
Oh.
And then that's what I thought she was saying. And then she's like, no. Um, she was saying that it was her daddy that had killed. Her daddy was the murderer.
Oh my
It was a
God.
it was a murder suicide.
Oh my God.
And because it's supposedly unsolved. And
Yeah.
I've actually had when I've talked to some of my other girlfriends who have been there and everything and done their paranormal search and everything as psychic mediums, the little girl said the same thing. Daddy was the one who killed us.
Oh God. That's so sad.
I it it breaks my heart. Yeah, yeah, that's the one. The I always say the
Well,
Valeska house.
yeah.
Yes, and we when we went there and everything, they're beautiful little girls. Yes, it is very heartbreaking. Gotham said it was how heartbreaking. It is. It's that whole situation, and because of what happened and being in such a small town, no one wanted to believe it had been an outside person, and just to keep up with the myth. But when you have your girlfriends, like I said, who's been there, I know. Before I told them what I felt, I was like, when you went, you said you had that little conversation with the one little daughter and everything and all that stuff. What did when you asked her who killed her, who did she say? She said it was her papa. And I was like, okay. Because I was using my Ghost Radar on my phone
Uh-huh.
thing, because my husband don't like dealing with spirit. He has an Aquarian moon, so he look like Mr. Macho and everything. But I don't deal with spirits. I don't deal with ghosts. I don't want to, I don't want to, it scares him. He doesn't like to admit it, but it does. And but I just, thought that. And then the other daughter thought my husband was handsome. I thought that was hilarious. I thought that was absolutely hilarious. But when doing your seances and everything, um, have you ever had certain one, really, like drain you bad?
Um. The shadow death one did. I did have one, which is really odd for me. It was a different kind of seance. It didn't really drain me. I mean, they all kind of drained me, but not super super bad. But I did have one, and I am really not into a lot of hoodoo or voodoo or anything like that. But I have a friend that is really into it, and so she wasn't there this particular night. But I was leading a seance, and I could smell smoke and sweat and alcohol. I could feel like scratchy, like dreadlocks. And I heard the whisper. And when I glanced over, I almost pissed myself. It was Papa Leg, but and he was telling me things about these people and these people on the guests and their loved ones. He was giving me messages. I don't know why. I've never had that happen before or after, and it was the oddest thing ever because I have never really been into that or connected, and that's the only thing. I mean, it just popped in my head. That's who that is. Why is he here? I have no idea. That was the oddest thing that's ever happened during a seance.
What type of people did you have around you, though?
I don't even remember. All I
Mm-hmm.
really remember was him. I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. So I just ran with it. I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna, whatever you tell me to say, I'm saying.
Mm-hmm. All depending on the tradition. Yeah, some people call him Baron Zamani, as well, especially down there in New Orleans and everything. It's also Papa Legba, because he's keeper of the crossroads.
Well, the thing is, where the Sneed house is, it's on the crossroads.
Mm-hmm.
And the house is on a limestone foundation. It's close to ley lines, and it is also there's a spring house right down from the house, so there's water source there.
Was it a part of the Underground Railroad?
I don't think it was. The Dr. Sneed was a slave owner, so I'm sure that it wasn't part of the Underground Railroad.
Actually, some of the places were plantations and everything, that people would hide them. So you might want to do some more research, because
There's
not all locations are have been truly documented that were on the railroad.
uh-huh.
So, but I do see his slaves being
Oh
practitioners,
yeah.
and so definitely he would be there and everything. Especially you being there by the crossroads.
There were I mean, the slaves were there were Hispanic slaves.
Yeah.
I'm not, or French. There was something. Someone was speaking a different language. I can't remember. But there's been 2 or 3 spirits there, and we found out that through a translator that they were
Mm-hmm.
slaves,
Mm-hmm.
which they were not recorded as being anything other. They weren't. Their ethnicity was never recorded really. So
All right. A lot of them weren't. A lot of
yep.
them weren't. And that's how they were able to survive. I mean, back in the day and everything, especially some of the females, you would see them coming over with that thing on the mouth. It's a vice metal thing that goes over the face and everything, and it goes into the mouth, and it cuts the tongue if you try to talk, because they were so powerful with their spells that they were causing the sailors to drop dead just like that.
Wow.
And that's what scared them and everything. Because that's why they were forced, not allowed to speak their native tongue. Because if they can't speak their native tongue, they thought they couldn't practice,
Right.
their old black magic ways, as they like to call it, especially dealing with the spirit world. Oh, that really freaked out the white folk. That's why they had to start disguising everything behind saints and all that kind of good stuff, so master wouldn't beat their behinds and everything. You know, um, when dealing with the seances and everything, after you're done, what are some of techniques do you use personally for yourself that you could recommend to people to help, like, because spiritual work, like you said, can be very draining and everything. And so how can someone recharge themselves after a session?
What I like to do is meditate and drink a lot of water, and meditate. And I call my guides in to help me um, recharge and protect me and help me to get myself balanced out. I also put up a little more protection and shielding just in case, because I'm open. I'm so open, and I don't want to risk something kind of sneaking in the back door when I'm not expecting it.
You can never be too careful, girl. One of my favorites that I for like crystals to help protect me is called astrophyllite.
Mm-hmm.
You can deal with the spirit world, but still be psychically protected, along with my obsidian. And then also, I wear a lot of hematite as well to keep me grounded and everything. And then, because one of my favorite bracelets that I wear is where it's tiger's eye, black obsidian, and hematite on the same bracelet and everything. Using the tiger's eye to keep, give courage and collect your energies to you. Hematite to keep you grounded, and then the black obsidian to keep you protected from anything negative. And then one of my other favorite things to do is I put the 5 pointed crown on, where you do the middle of your forehead, left and right temple, and the back of your neck, left and right side. If I can't scarf my head and everything. And because people ask me, why do you all cover your heads, or why do you anoint yourselves? Because malevolent things, that's the first thing they want to attach to. It's going to be in here because of your pineal gland, because that's where the soul sits and
Uh-huh.
everything. And I remember one time on this one investigation, we were at the Boyd House here in Minnesota, and people don't realize that Minnesota were slave owners and everything in the North, and they fought for the Confederacy, and they were known as like Minneapolis, they were known as the Jim Crow of the North for
Mhm.
the longest time. Well, we did. They recorded me reading the Three Little Pigs because this they had several of their children pass because of yellow fever back in the 1800s. So their little spirits were running around. So as you know, a nice little thing for the children, I did story time with Reverend Patience, and it was hilarious. I made the wolf sound like Cajun Rougarou from down in the swamps, and then the three little pigs, I made them sound like they were three little gay, from Bavaria. And it was hilarious. After I was done reading on everyone's little ghost voice box things, you heard applause, 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 applause. And then Mr. Boyd comes out of the bedroom and he goes, "Are you a slave?" Because the way when I have my head done up in the dino and everything, some people have I don't claim to be, but I've been told I look similar to like Marie Laveau and everything. The light skin portrait
And
that you see of her that's famous. And so I can see why he thought I was a slave woman. And I had to remind him, I said, honey, slavery's been over almost 300 years. And I'm what you would call from your time a free woman of color. Okay. Because they had noticed during the investigation why I would not go into the master bedroom. I said, because Mr. Boyd is sitting right there. See that indentation on the bed? He's sitting right there. And he told me my kind is not welcome here. Talking about coming into his room.
you know,
But I'm
I have had that happen to me at a lot of locations. I go in, and wherever the people that own the house, wherever the husband and the wife sleep, I'm not allowed in those rooms.
mhm.
Someone, a protective spirit, will meet me at the door and say, "No, this is a private place. You're not allowed."
Mhm. Mhm. Exactly. Exactly. And they kept on asking me what I said, nope, y'all can go in there. I said, I respect spirit and everything. That's why I hate some of these, very popular shows. I'm not gonna name any names because I don't want to get in trouble. But they just do things to get,
A reaction.
uh-huh. And it's like, really, people? Come on now. Learn to have respect for the dead.
That's one of the first things I taught the paranormal team that I'm with. The first thing I taught them was respect the dead. They may not be here in living form, but they still are a person like us. Treat them like
Exactly.
we want to be treated. And
Exactly.
I do not allow provocation at the Sneed house.
Amen. Amen. And I and
One,
I
I have to go in there every day, and I don't want things stirred up to where I'm not welcome because
preach,
I'm the
honey.
caretaker. I'm the caretaker
Exactly.
of the house, so they look to me to take care of them and their home.
Exactly. Exactly. And I that's why I hate seeing that type of foolishness and everything. And then they wonder why things happen and then they, like I said, call somebody like us, have to clean up their mess and
Yep.
everything. And like I had someone try to guilt me because I charged them for coming in to do the spiritual cleansing. I said, when I do an investigation, paranormal investigation, it's like the plumber coming into your house and giving you a free estimate of what the problem is. Now, if you want me to do the work to take care of the problem, just like the plumber, then you're gonna pay for me doing the work to take care of the problem.
Yep.
You know, I
Because
would
it
never.
is at risk.
Exactly,
It's not a safe thing to do.
exactly.
I mean, it
Or
can get ugly, and it can get dangerous.
oh yeah, oh yeah, I've seen people like certain things you see like in the movies where they get grabbed by something invisible and go up the thing. I've seen that in real life. Okay, I of course could see it and everything, but people on a team couldn't, and it's like this is why we don't fool around people. This is why we don't antagonate something. Like we were at this one house in Princeton, Minnesota. For instance, another similar area like the little town I live outside of. Whole place is haunted like hell, and people in the home were playing with Ouija boards and doing satanic things in the home and everything. So they had a portal from hell literally in the home down there in the basement.
Oh my
And
God.
the one young man that ran the team thought he was going to be Mr. Ego because he has a certain idolization of a certain ghost adventure person. I'm not mentioning any names. Yes, you know what I'm saying.
I know.
Anyway,
I know exactly what you're saying.
and I've told people before and everything, when you antagonize something like that, it's not going to go after the weakest person on the team. They're going to go after the strongest person spiritually. So guess who got attacked?
Mm-hmm.
Girl, I was I about whipped that boy from here to kingdom come and everything because he's literally old enough to be my child. I'm so sorry. No, you're not sorry. You were just thinking from your ego. You should have known better because before we even went in the house, there was this wind chime. And you know how we use wind chimes to keep evil spirits away? Well, it was all entangled. Okay. So I untangled it. And I could feel one of the certain nasties just breathing on the back of my neck. It literally, instead of, feeling cool, it felt like a burning sensation on the back of my neck. So I got it untangled and then just started doing this with my hand, making it ring. And all of a sudden, on our little ghost boxes, you're hearing, ow, burn, ow, make it stop, ow, burn, make it stop. And I was like, no, I'm not going to make it stop. Don't be rude. Okay, us ladies don't like you nasty, creepy male things and everything. Even in the flesh, we don't like the thing. We being rude and breathing on our neck and everything. Respect space, okay? I had everybody cracking up. It's like, damn, get off me. It's like, like, go away. Yeah, but girl, time flies when we having fun. I am so
Wow.
glad I was able to finally have you on the show. And don't forget, get on the website and let me know what you want, Mama.
Yes,
Because
ma'am.
we want to send everybody as a thank you and everything for participating, a complimentary bag of either coffee or tea. Um, I did send a message. Mama Pat will be getting her tea and everything this Saturday, but I did send it. I know they're busy, but if you could, because I know you can talk to them on the phone, holler at the Connor sisters, tell them to get back to me so I can get something shipped out to them as well, because I want you all to be able to enjoy it and definitely flyers for the business and everything are in the works. So I know whatever you order, they won't be shipped in there, but once we do have them ready, I will ship some to you and everything. So thank you so much for being on the show. And
Thank you. I'm so glad I finally got to actually get on the show and speak to you, and other than just messaging back and forth.
right, exactly, and that's why I can't wait for January, honey. We are going to have some fun, baby.
Like casino day.
Uh-huh. It was hilarious. The Connor sisters, because I guess they'd never really flown on airplanes
You
before.
haven't. No.
And remember Beverly Hillbillies, the movie, the scene where the whole shows the whole family going on the airplane to the wedding. They posted that. She goes, that's gonna be us. And I said, girl, I want to be on that plane with y'all.
Oh, that's gonna be, I won't be flying with them. I'll be flying separate because they live like 2 hours away.
Okay.
So they'll be flying out of Roanoke, Virginia. I'll be flying out of Tri-Cities Airport in Tennessee. But
Okay.
yeah, no, I fly frequently, and because my husband works in California, so I fly back and forth frequently there. But they've never flown. I'm like, seriously, you've never flown? And like, no, we're kind of afraid. It's gonna be it. I wish I was flying with them just to record it.
Exactly. Oh, it's gonna be hilarious. And now you can tease them and say, "You're a witch and you're afraid to fly? What? Did you have a broom? Huh?" That is that time of year. It's our favorite season and everything.
Yep.
Again, thank you, darling, for being on the show. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in tonight. It's been an honor again to have you on the show. And remember, people, you can actually go to our store. It's located there in the description area. You can hit the links and order yourself coffee or some tea, or even book yourself a psychic reading with one of our spiritual advisors at Indigo Psychics, Coffee and Clarity. Anyone who orders tea or coffee for the first time, you get 10% off. 99.9% of everything has free shipping and there's no sales tax. And also, too, if you are a first-time caller to one of our spiritual advisors, your first 3 minutes is free. Again, everyone, thank you so much for tuning in tonight. Many blessings to you guys, and enjoy spooky season.